Welcome to the training overview. I want to take time and thank you personally for being a partner with Jump Software. And I'm eager and excited to be able to help you learn the ropes of basically selling reputation management, but not only that, having the ability to link the business foundations and thoughts together so that when you're presenting this to somebody in almost any industry, whether B2B or B2C, there are certain patterns that you can illuminate for their business that are missing and then be able to solve for those as a marketing agency or as a consultant to be able to earn revenue. Everything that you're offering with Jump Software is a valuable service and it is a core essential that every business must have, but unfortunately, most businesses don't have. And so let's get some logic down first. Number one, almost every business knows about SEO. Many do SEO services through consultants. You might be that consultant. And what this does is this is not SEO linked to a website, which is traditionally what SEO has been. This is SEO linked to data aggregators that Google checks. And so this is different, and you can show that difference and speak to that difference, and then add on as a value-added sale if you're doing SEO for their website. So secondary, there's three pillars that you're going to focus on, and I like to call it the three-legged stool. You have your locations, your users, I'm sorry, let's go back. I'll go into one of the accounts. Your listings, reviews, and social. These three areas are not just separate pieces of the software, but work in tandem. They are exponentially helping each other, which I'll go through in the demo here. This demo is meant to be not only an overview of the software as you experience using Jump for your own business, but really also how you justify and ROI this for the business you're talking to. So again, when you're framing this conversation about reputation management, you're heavily having a business conversation, sprinkling a little bit of software with it. Hope that's clear. Now, one of the tools you have which helps open up the conversation to reputation management is the scan tool. The scan tool is meant to allow you, with any business, to see what their reputation looks like when people are searching them on Google. Now, it's not just them specifically in one area. It's the different websites and data aggregators that Google checks. So if we put in someone's information, now I always ask the company who's filling in sites, I always say, put your information in exactly as it should be showing up on Google, right? So let's take somebody I used here before, Tiny Pulse. Hope they're happy with me doing this, but this is a scan that they had. So Tiny Pulse had, and they're a partner, by the way, so if you're watching this, hello, but they had about an 82% inaccuracy rate initially. And as you can see, they had some of their listings done in the past. So that means somebody went in and actually filled out information on Yahoo, on Bing, but notice on Facebook, the address isn't correct. Yelp, it's missing. Now on Yelp, we don't post to Yelp's reviews, but we do post to them as a data aggregator so that they can be found because Google does check them to verify information. Foursquare, the address wrong. So you go through and you scroll down and you say, this is where you're missing inconsistencies, your address, your phone number, you're not found. Now, common objections will be, well, if I have this fixed once, why do I keep paying for it? And we'll come to that, but mostly because this data changes. It's very fluid. Google doesn't lock it down. So they have to pay every month to keep this consistent if they want their ranking to be high and their trust ranking to be 0 errors. So once they see this, typically most small businesses will want to fix this and they'll say, expectedly, how do I fix this? And you have to have a bridge to go from I can fix it this way and here's how. And the bridge is with reviews. Now, that might not seem logical, but here's why it is. If you're found on Google and your rating is high and you're coming up on search, but you don't have the reviews to validate when people see you, it makes no difference whether you're found or not. Vice versa, if you have a lot of reviews, but you can't be found, what does it matter to you? And I'm going to show you a way that you can prove out a model with reviews. So once you've talked about the listing tool and say, would you like to get this fixed? Yes, great. My platform, every 48 hours, goes in and checks and makes sure that all the information is accurate. And if anything has changed, it changes it. It's a set it and forget it. But every month, This is happening every 48 hours so that you know consistently that your ranking is going to be high because your Google Trust score is high. That then allows you to justify spending money on SEO or pay ad spend or pay click, etc. That's a huge piece of it because most companies are artificially spending money on their lead generation. Now, you need to have some sort of a visual for this. Mine's a little cheesy, but I'll share it with you. My first car was a 78 Pinto. It didn't go very fast at all. Business owners typically, when they need leads, they are going to Facebook and spending on leads there, or they're buying a list, or they're paying someone to write 15 blogs for their website. That's essentially like putting a turbocharger, more like a nitrous oxide system on my 78 Pinto. You push the button, the engine goes super fast, but once the gas is gone, it's back to a 78 Pinto. It's just crawling along. And so foundationally, when you have the SEO organically corrected, you can then justify spending more money on that type of search engine optimization or that kind of lead generation. Now, I use another example. So now I'm going to transition. So I'm going to do a quick transition in TalkTrack. So, John, it looks like there's about 87% of errors here. Google wants between 3 to 5% to have you be within their threshold of errors. You're overachieving. Congratulations. I'm assuming that you would want to get this fixed and to be able to have your organic ranking, right? Good. Now, John, one thing I want you to be aware of is once this gets fixed with me, it'll make no real dent unless when people find you and they see you, you're being backed up by validations of reviews. Let's look at your reviews. Now, this is where I will go to a company and I will look up their reviews. So let's say I'm going to use this Big O Tires. I come in here, I say tire centers near me, and I'll pull up the list. I don't typically look at the first page because most people are on their phones and they're looking for places, and Google Maps and Apple Maps are heavily used. So I go to Maps a lot of the time when I'm showing this, and I'll say, let's look at Big O Tires. So Big O Tires has 201. Oh, by the way, I don't look at the ads either. I always discount the ads, even though people are spending money. Again, this to me is artificial spending because I don't want to look at organic stuff. Big O Tires, 3.9 stars, 201. Okay. My Tire Guys, 257 for reviews, 4.7. Victor Tires, 3.6 at 164. Now remember Big O Tires at 3.9 and 201. If we come down to Les Schwab, 4.1, 227. All right. And then you come down to Certified Tire and Services at 4.7, 176. What you should be pointing out here, and you want to find a search like this, is why in the world is Big O Tire on top? Why shouldn't My Tire Guys or even Les Schwab or Certified Tires? Now these are big companies. They're probably spending money on marketing. Why is it that they're not on top, or Big O? And you go into reviews, and this is a Google algorithm, and I'm going to show you, and I have an article on this that I can attach or send to you as you continue learning, or we can send you, I should say. But if you look at the reviews for Big O Tires, and I'm going to click right here on Show All Reviews, because I want to be able to scan through all of them. Vernon wrote a lovely review, a couple sentences. Look at the response, a couple sentences. Mitchell, not quite so happy with Big O Tires, wrote like a whole paragraph or two. Look at the response from the owner. It's about 2 paragraphs. You almost matched them. Heather, nice review, somewhat of a good response. Vince, same thing. Tony, same thing. Look at Russ. Kathy had a problem. Now look at the response from the owner. Now, what small businesses don't realize is that the content on the Google My Business page, when you're considering the reviews, it's all building not only for reputation, but it's all building for being able to be found on Google. And Google has come out and said that reviews and response to reviews are highly advantageous to being found through their services and their search. And so the reason why Big O Tires comes up first is because they've got some pretty killer responses and some great content on reviews. So back to this then. Listing, we look at the errors and we say, okay, if you're now found, we need to work on your ability to be validated by your past customers. Now, when is the best time to get a validation from a customer? It is not 4 months after you've done business with them. They will receive your text invite or your email invite and look at it and go, later. You have to do it during the transaction or right after the transaction or when you're in the middle of the business and your business offering and you're fulfilling on your work. That's when it should happen. But you bridge the conversation saying, let's talk about how you get found. Obviously, your reviews are lacking. And most businesses, by the way, Big O Tire is an exception, and it's because it's a larger corporation, but most companies have either zero or a few reviews. And the reviews, by the way, also show up on Facebook. And of course, we know that with Facebook, Google is looking at them as a verified source for information. So if I go to Tiny Pulses on Facebook, and I want to just see, well, it's taking me somewhere in Vietnam, but I want to show you this anyways. So if you look at a typical, this is fairly typical for a small business. You'll have their business page come up, and I mean, probably 9 out of 10 have very limited reviews. And they don't call it reviews on Facebook anymore, they call it recommendations. This plus Google reviews are what people look at. First, they will find you. Then they're going to verify whether they want to do business with you from the reviews. Then they're going to go over to Facebook and see if you actually have a soul to your company. Do they have content? Are they thriving? Do they have active reviews? Do they have followers? All of these things are a headache for most small businesses to have to go and create and then nurture, which is why the software is so great at minimizing all the time they have to spend on that. So you're finding places to fix. Well, it looks like you get some ratings that we can pick up some volume on helping you with closing sales. By the way, that's a key point. Jump is not a lead generator. It is for helping to basically close the sale. That's really what it's really meant for when you have your SEO and you have your reviews in Google and in Facebook. You are therefore pointing to those areas and saying in the sales conversation, don't just take my word for it, Mr. Prospect, but go check out my reviews. Go check out my recommendations on Facebook. See what other people are saying. That is a powerful testimony that a small business owner needs to leverage so that they can move forward with the business proposition and the business acquisition. So now we've gone into the listings. Now, of course, on the listings here, you should all know the integrations. You're coming in here. The setup is super simple. Logins and passwords. Now, this is another value that you're going to share with them because many businesses have set up a Google My Business. Many have set up Google Analytics, but it's messy, meaning they can't remember the login and passwords. They don't remember the last time they went into them, etc. So by having everybody have to log in with our integrations, what this does is it cleans up their closet. And so you need to reference that too. Once we get going, we're going to clean up a lot of the things that you're using and put them into one place so you don't have to bounce around. Every one of these systems has a learning curve, and every one of these systems has a login and password. That means that you're not only eliminating the multi-system chaos that happens, but you're also eliminating the business owner having to be the human USB cord plugging all these things in. Just think of an old-fashioned operator for telephones. They had their wires and plugs, and when someone wanted to connect to 425, they have to unplug that person and plug them over here, and the switchboard madness, right? So once these are integrated with Google My Business, you're coming into the listings and you are going to help them fill out, or you fill it out, all their business information, everything. Now, notice on categories. There's publisher categories, there's Google categories, and Facebook categories. Each are different in what they offer people as far as choices. But what you need to do is come in and add the categories as much as possible. Put in the right address. If they work from home, there's a button right here that'll say hide my address. If they don't want to hide their address, then you're clicking on satellite, zooming in and making sure that their business is not in the bushes. And I'm telling you, 8 times out of 10, they're in the bushes, right? So look, we're in the bushes. This is a dummy account, so we can be in the bushes. Putting in the information. Business description is very important. Hours, Now, here's where people scrimp. The additional hours, if there's anything like walk-ins welcome or closed on Christmas or closed on Hanukkah, whenever they're closed, the website and then the website display and the email. Photos, let's talk about that. The photos and the cover photos and the additional photos all help with getting people found. Not only is it great for people to see the business, but the more photos and content you throw into Google My Business, the more valuable it becomes for Google to be able to say, I want to show this to people who are looking for this service or this company. And so encourage people to put photos of their staff, of their office, of their events, of their product pictures, whatever. Have them put them in there. Additional information, keywords. Now, this is where you're valuable as a consultant or a marketing agency because you know the keywords. And the more the merrier. And I'll let you guys have your expertise in this, but the idea is that they will feel empowered when they have keywords in place and they know they're working for them. Same thing with products, services, don't skimp on this, specialties, associations. Associations might be like Chamber of Commerce or BNI or Masons or some sort of certification, Jump certified partner, right? So put those in. Languages, of course, and what payments they take, and your Instagram and YouTube videos. Once this publishes, you let them know it will take 48 hours to show up. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, depending on which directories are processing on which days. Directories take and receive information on, it's not instant sometimes. Okay, so 48 hours, that's done. You can tell them or show them the directories. You will not see all the directories available because in their category, they might not be part of that category for directories. For instance, if they're not a restaurant, they're probably not going to be on Zomato, which means that they will have other ones that will show up. By the way, if you're talking to restaurants, make sure they're putting their menu on Google My Business. There's nothing more obnoxious than trying to look at a restaurant and realizing you can't look at the menu while you're trying to figure it out with your significant other. So menu is huge. Again, more content. Okay. Now, to transition from the listings to reviews is the same way you're going to transition from the scan tool to the reviews here. You are going to talk about the fact that all of the different data aggregators may or may not have people leaving reviews for them on there. Google and Facebook have 99% of all the reviews coming in, so they're the biggest player. But that doesn't mean that you might not get an occasional one on Chamber of Commerce or City Search or City Square, etc. And so make sure you identify that when those come over, they can deal with them. But for Facebook and Google, it is emphasizing that it's one place to manage the receiving and the sending of reviews. Of course, when generating a review, the manual way is just following the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, text or email, Google, Facebook, or Zillow. Are you going to send it to them individually, put in their first name, last name, and phone number? Are you going to upload a list? If you're using Infusionsoft or other CRMs, you can integrate with us and be able to have your contact list already ported over. Let's talk about number 4. This is a big deal for me. Please think like a marketer when you're asking people for reviews. Number 1, nobody really wants to do reviews unless they really, really like the job they did with you or you did for them. They're not going to care. However, if you ask them for a favor and tell them why you're sending them a review, such as, hi Bob, I wanted to ask a favor if you could leave me a quick review on the services we had. Number 1, the quality. Number 2, the response, the results of it, or number 3, the timeliness. You put in a 1, 2, and 3. But the idea is you're asking them and telling them why you want the review. It always needs to wrap around, help me be found, help me grow my business, help others make a decision on moving forward with me. And if they feel like they're adding to your business and can help you, they will do it. So once you write that in, of course, you're going to save it as a template. When you click on custom, you'll see this button here, save as template. Then you're going to send it. You also want to be aware, just like email marketing, for those who have done it, no, you can have the best email campaign in the world, but some people just aren't going to open or do stuff. So you have to understand that even if you're sending it via text, a lot of people will look at it. They might even click on it. They might even open it up in Google, but that doesn't mean they're going to leave something. So consistency is going to be key, as when someone's done, when you've done the work for them, Send them that review. And as a client, as a partner, your job is to help your clients create healthy habits and getting them into the software. The more you get them into the software in the first 21 days and establish a healthy habit in the first 21 days, the more likelihood you have of keeping that customer long term and having some stickiness with what it is you're trying to accomplish for them. And obviously, one of the end goals is recurring revenue. Okay, so reviews also, like I was telling you before, you want to hammer this in that reviews help with being found because of the content that comes in the reviews and the responses. So therefore, when you're talking about responding to reviews, you have a value right there. Whether you're doing it for them or you're encouraging them to do it, you give them the ROI behind managing reviews. Validations from people who have done work with them, and also search engine ranking. Okay. Social. The sales side on social with the conversation you'll have is this. You, Mr. Entrepreneur, are already feeling guilty for not sending that social media posting on Friday before you left the office, or getting onto YouTube and shooting that video, or getting onto LinkedIn and posting about your new event. Because there's so many different logins and passwords and cutting and pasting and this database has that picture and you know that video is over there and it's on the cloud. You push the fact that one, no one's really doing social media like they should, and two, there really would be a lot more people doing it if there was a platform that did an all-in-one. So that's where I'm talking to people about using the calendar primarily because it allows you to post one to many. Now, limitations are people just aren't used to doing it. They're just not used to sitting down in front of a computer and getting it done. And so you have to help them and coach them through that. Again, 21 days to a successful habit. So not only can they see all their feeds and monitor them, but they post one to many, meaning one post to many different platforms. The media calendar. It's very important that you push the importance of the media calendar, or the media library. What this will do for them is allow them to have all of their content that has been approved or created correctly or branded correctly in one place, tagged over here on the right based on where they want to send it or how they want to store it. But what this does is eliminates a lot of confusion because they can have, when they're logging into the software, they can have their employees or their contractors putting in content here, and it's all in one place. It's a big deal for a lot of people who have to juggle back and forth between different people that are creating content. Now, how does this tie into the other two pieces of Jump with reviews and listings? Well, when you have active social content, you are validating yourself on social media, and people will go on social media as they are reviewing whether they want to do business with that company, and they will see what the look, feel, taste, touch, senses are for Facebook and for YouTube. And the more they see that invites them in, the better they are. I liken this to a housewarming party. If you invite somebody to take a look at your house, you better have everything clean inside and you better have it organized and have some finger foods people can munch on. If you don't, people are going to be leaving with a little bit of a cold feeling. And so the social is not just a nicety. It is valuable to validate the worth of the business as people are looking at it. This is a three-legged stool. If you are not found, then reviews aren't going to really help you. If you're found but don't have reviews, then no one's going to go with you anyways. And if you don't show up on social media to basically hit home that you are found and you do have reviews, and you also social media is showing you as a real breathing, living company, you have a much better opportunity to push people to those three areas and say, don't just take my word for it. Look at all the validation I have. Okay, hopefully that's been helpful with those three areas. The insights is the last tab. How you use the insights is really how you want to report back to your client every month or every week or whatever your consistency is on that. And of course, you have our generic reports which show value in that you can see where people have come from, whether it's direct searches or on maps. These are very important. And specifically, you can see things that a small business owner wants to know, but they're not super tech savvy and they're not going to go out and find it on Google Analytics. Well, it's already pulled in here. So for instance, how many people are finding you on search versus maps? How many people are finding you by your business name versus a roundabout way by your category? You go to the storyboard, And this is where you're going to be able to create all the different reports, for instance, like your website, all the different things that someone would want to see, traffic, behaviors, uh, you name it, and whatever the interval is that you want. Again, these are set up to help you be more successful as a partner to show value every month to your clients. To title it, I'm not going to title it. And of course, the analytics are pulled in here. They're general analytics. But this is the storyboard. This is where you set up a custom dashboard, and you're showing them what it is that they need to be tracking. So, and honestly, to set this up, unless somebody has a hard time with their login and passwords, you're setting up their Jump account in less than an hour. If you're managing it and doing a done-for-you service, you're spending about 10 to 20 minutes a week just managing the reviews, maybe pushing social content, and maybe a little bit more than 20 if you're doing social content, if you're creating it. But the idea is this allows you to do so many different things in one place and charge a premium. Now, let's talk about premiums. You'll get objections to your prospecting conversations. Number one, well, I could buy a review management system like Podium, or I could buy a tech stack for my social media like Hootsuite, or I could just go over to Yext. Okay, yes, you could, and yes, you should, but most businesses don't, and they talk it, but they don't do it. Number one, you'll spend about $50 to $80 on a reputation management software that's good. You'll spend about that 80 to 100 for a social media tech stack that's worth it, and you'll spend with someone like Yext to get your SEO through database sources or through the aggregators. You'll spend about 50 or 60 bucks with them. So right there, you're already at 300 or more. Not to mention the learning curve of learning all the different systems. And then again, having to be the human USB cord. So what you're essentially doing, and you can show the integrations here and use this as proof. Already to manage your business, you have all of these tools, 9, 10 tools, right? Already you have these and you're the human USB cord. You're cutting all of these way down. So go and add 3 more systems to the already complicated multi-system madness you have as a small business owner and have to learn all of them and sit down and it's a waste of time. A small business owner should be out selling, getting new prospects, growing their business, evolving their business, etc. So in terms of cost, you really can not justify that conversation going on any further than, well, I can get this cheaper. No, you can't. You won't be able to and still be profitable and still have time to keep your marriage alive or remember who your kids' names are or remember to go on vacation. You won't. And you put that forward as a partner saying, I am here to help you see, 1, the errors in all of your reputation, fixing that. 2, helping you get more validations through your reviews on Google and Facebook. And 3, having a tech stack that makes your life a whole lot less complicated, especially when you're scheduling out posts. That's the value of the partnership that Jump offers you. And if you're just not really great at sales yet, or it's not your strong suit, don't talk about sales. Talk about ROI and logic. How much money is this going to get them if we can get 10 more clients in? How much time is this going to save them? How much is their time worth? How much is the aggregation worth to them of having to go learn new software pieces versus just using you, the consultant, to do it for them? So that's the basics of a sales conversation. Now, here's one last nugget for you. You need to have this conversation over and over again and practice it before you go out and try it. Don't try this the first time. Go and do this demo and a sales presentation numerous times so that you're comfortable, and find the places that you get stuck. And when you get stuck, write down what those places are that you get stuck in and contact your partner manager. And let's talk it through. We were doing the same thing years ago, one-on-one, selling this the same way. But now we're using you, the partner, to help us. So I want you to know how much I appreciate what you're doing as a Jump partner, and looking forward to continually working together on everything you're doing. Take care.